And essentially the base for this, I went to use a local ingredient, again echoing what Bedders Bitters do, which is to use locally sourced ingredients. So I'm using a gin called Piston, which is made in Worcester, just down the road from where I'm from. I could literally throw a rock from where my parents live and hit this distillery. So it's a very, very special gin for me. Now what the guys there have done is they've used a kitchen in Birmingham called Harborne Kitchen, and that is, they've infused with Douglas fir into the gin. So per drink I'm putting 50 ml of this gin in, so I really want that Douglas fir to sort of slam everyone in the face when they drink it. Now the one thing that you get when you infuse is you get a very single layer product. You get one flavour of Douglas fir, you don't get many levels to it, so I wanted to bring a bit of complexity to it. Now the easiest way to do that was with the Bedders Bitters. The Cypress Bowl, when I first smelled those, it brought all these memories back. I was saying I was actually in a bar in London called Untitled, they had a drink of snow. That was the first thing that sort of made me think, wow, drinks can really be memories. I'm using 12 drops or 3 dashes in this per cocktail. And then I started looking, right, okay, so I need to make an ingredient that's a little bit out there, a little bit sort of crazy. So I used enoki mushrooms, and I made a syrup out of them. Now, if you know enoki mushrooms, they're quite a fresh, fragrant flavour. But what a lot of you may not know is that they actually share a chemical compound with freshly fallen snow. So when you try them, it's very sort of, you get that earthy sort of fresh snow sort of effect. I've put 15 mils of that in here. Unfortunately though, when I was creating this ingredient, it actually fermented. Which, and I'm sure Sam won't mind me saying this, they're not scared to admit that they make mistakes at Bedders Bitters, and they sort of learn from them. I actually used the fermented enoki mushroom syrup. It worked 10 times better than the normal one. So that's why I put that in there. It was literally by accident. I'm going to hold my hands up and say that was a complete fluke. I then wanted to add sort of an earthy base note to the drink to bring back that sort of damp earth smell that I had. The way that I did that was through the use of hemp seed. Obviously you can't talk about Canadian product without talking about the recent hemp seed they've sort of taken on as their new national leaf, I think. Essentially this added like a rock star element to the drink. It meant that I could sort of play around with the balance of it. That was actually a salted cup cordial, and it just brought a balance to the drink. The last thing that I had to recreate, obviously, with this drink was the sorry, I'm just putting ice in here. Was the sort of hot, steamy feeling when I took the jackets off. So I actually decided to serve this with a Douglas fir foam, which I use the Bedders Bitters foam for. I put it into a siphon and use stabilizers. Yeah, it's a bit boring for me to go through all that now. But essentially I used plant-based stabilizers because there's no point in using a vegan product and adding egg-based stuff to it. This is heat stable, and essentially it meant that I could serve the foam at roughly 68 degrees. Now 68 is a very specific temperature, and what I find at 68 is the floral nature of the Douglas fir is released, rather than the overly bitter nature. And also, when you add it to the drink, you're going to get a bit of steam coming off here. Now obviously at Nocturnal, when I do this, it's a tableside serve, and what it does is it gives that really sort of hot, when you unzip your jacket, you get all the steam coming up out of your jacket, and it allows you to really get a good taste of what that memory was to me. Okay, yeah, this is my drink. You've not done this before, eh? There you go, mate. So this is my drink. This is a memory of free skiing. It's called Raven Ridge. I really, really hope you enjoy it, guys. Okay? If there are any questions afterwards, just go grab me. I'll be the luminescent man in the corner. Okay? Enjoy, guys. Yeah. That's fine, mate. This thing's here. Yeah.
Literally random individuals.
The cypress ball. And then I use that one. There you go. I used these ones here, so yeah. No worries. It's fine, I'm sure it's fine with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Luke. Way to smash it. So right now we have this cocktail coming around, and we should fight for a little taste. All right. And then next up, in a few minutes, we will have Arian from Miso in London.
I like it. Oh, I like it. Oh, it's really nice. Huh?
In the toilet. I genuinely create alcohol by accident. Messing around in the kitchen and stuff. Might be 20 years old.
You and me.
Do you know what I'm like?
Sorry.
Do you know why this is one of the recipes? I mean, look, it's got it's different. I'm not saying it's not different. And I'm not saying
So
it hasn't
I
got
lied.
what he
It's not
wants to
Arian.
get.
It's
But to
Dad
me, as we
from
learn
below
coffee,
stairs
there's
in
front,
Leeds.
middle and back and palate.
Yeah.
But where's the technical depth?
You were repping. Here you go. We're going to pass it on for you to rep it. Leeds.
Where's the
There you go. Leeds.
Hi mate, you're mad.
There you have it.
Oh yes, getting retweeted by Mrs. Better's Bitters.
What was that?
We're getting retweeted.
Right.
I'm sharing that. No one's watching it. People keep clicking on and then there's nothing happens to the
What next? What?
my battery will die, so I'll have to
You
go
liked
for
it.
that.
You liked it. You didn't like it. I'm sure you like.
Find them all, not two at a time. So I've got all my life to study.
Huh?
Well, I've done some cocktails up.
We need to take sauce. The fruit?
Asparagus, flowers.
That's my drink. Passionate. Some pizza now?
Nice. These glasses are quite good. Oh,
We've got them on link.
wear that chair now.
It makes me throw enough.
Burns.
There's nothing wow me. Am I this sad senile old man that nothing wows me?
Yes.
Were you wowed with that?
I thought it was really cool from this they did. Was really cool.
Like what?
Just like how we created the phone and all that sort of thing. It's good.
How can I send that to Alex? Like that, yes.
After years, Mark and Shannon's UK starts in 15 minutes.
Do you want to go to that?
I don't think they've done in 15 minutes.
Sorry, I might crouch down here to film. Is that
So do we
alright?
crouch here? Are you literally filming in front of my live stream?
Want to have a try from the glass, guys? What's your nose?
Cheers.
Before we have the very handsome Dan present his beautiful cocktail, I would like to do a big, beautiful shout out to our wonderful friends and fam at LDK.
Which way?
Which if you don't know, now you know. They have everything you could possibly want. They have every glass you could want, every shaker you could want, every mixing glass, every spoon. Hell, they even have sparklers. So, I mean, if you need some pizzazz, some finesse, some glassware that doesn't look like it was, I don't know, carved out of someone's glasses from 200 years ago, Coke bottles, repurposed Coke bottles, then I would definitely make a trip down to LDK, which they actually have a stand here, super convenient. And I would talk to our sweet friend Ellie or Dan, and they'll sort you out.
What?
Dun, dun, dun.
Send it to my mom.
So take a picture of that. What do you think of that? That's what a cocktail competition is.
I thought they just fling stuff around. And,
That's a play competition.
no, but why don't we waste 5 hours between each thing? Other things are good. Do you know what I mean? Feedback. That's the feedback. Put 4 of them up there. Give them all a metre each, and that's it. Or 2 foot each, and that's it.
That's what they do. That's the speed round. This is just for taste, I think.
Fucking alien shit. Fucking alien. It's morphing into something else.
Fantastic people, I believe. We're watching.
There's a lead point, isn't it? No, this looks a bit more interesting.
My mom. My dad is at work. And Alex is doing bike.
So I just did a little turnaround and I realized there's a lot of people walking by with inquisitive looks. What's going on? Well, let me tell you. It's the Big Beautiful Cocktail Competition and you're literally making the worst decision of your life right now, continuing on your stroll. So I would turn right around and park yourself right over here. Yes, you. I'm pointing you out. I can see you, red sweater. No, really, come over here and watch the best bartenders in this country. So here we have Dan from below stairs in
Leeds. Hi everybody. My name's Dan and I'm from below stairs in Leeds. At below stairs we just like Better's Bitters, to create flavours based on stories and experiences that hopefully link back to an emotion that everybody can relate to. So when Sam came down to Below Stairs, did a masterclass back in January, I decided to get involved in the Big Beautiful Cocktail Competition because the brief was nice and loose, which I like. A lot of creativity involved in that. And I was thinking, what is the biggest and most beautiful thing that I can think of? It's the world, right? It's the world and the experience that all of us have. So I decided to create the world in a cocktail. Challenge accepted, right? So to do that, what I did was I bought this, which is an atlas, which I'm going to be serving my drink in, only fitting. And I decided to not just use the Better's Bitters as bitters, but as modification for the cocktail as well, because it can modify itself. It's so good, right? It tastes amazing. Everything tastes amazing. So this drink has travelled thousands of miles to get here today. Across the globe, obviously starting in Canada. It's gone through the west coast of India, it's gone through the UK, it's gone everywhere, and it landed here via our creativity, our collective creativity. So without further ado, I'm going to crack on with making the drink. So the first ingredients I'm going to put in the glass are the Better's Bitters chocolate bitters. These are roasted cocoa and 3 chilies, kind of reminiscent of childhood memory of chocolate, like in the brownie bowl. And the chili kind of gives it a nice spicy kick without being overpowering. It's going to work perfectly with the other ingredients in the cocktail. And I got 5 drops in there, so it's 2 serves, so I'm going to 10 drops. And try and stop my hand from shaking at the same time. For the second ingredients, I looked into the culinary techniques of the French and Italians, and I found this stuff, it's called acetamol. I've been doing a lot of work with acetamol at the minute because it works in cocktails perfectly as a sweet and sour balance without having to use lemons and limes, all about sustainability. So to make this, I used Spanish lemon husks, Italian balsamic vinegar, PX sherry, again from Spain, wildflower honey from the UK, and I cut it with an entire bottle. That's 4 ounces of the Better's Bitters black pepper and cardamom bitters. So the spicy notes and versatility from the southwest coast of India there, where the black pepper comes from, and the cardamom work brilliantly with the rest of the ingredients in the cocktail again. The inspiration for the cocktail comes from, it's like a mix of classic daiquiri versus old fashioned. So I needed a little bit of a sour element in there. I didn't want to go for the obvious options. So I'll be using 12.5 ml per serve, which is 25 all in. For my next ingredient, I looked at the smoke and oak bitters. The smoke and oak is kind of luscious, leather, buttery, kind of crackling fire and cedarwood kind of a flavour profile going on. I cut that with in a 1-to-1 ratio with cognac-based fig leaf and honey liqueur, which is from France. So they're Canada in France. And I made this, reduced it a little bit, and I put 5 ml of this into the cocktail. So 10 ml all in. And then I decided to use a base rum. I used one of the best rums as well, the Ron Zacapa 23, Guatemalan rum. It's been infused with Brazilian tonka beans, which will also be aromatized on top of the drink as well when I finish the serve. That's 40 ml per serve on that one, so 80 ml all in. And then I'm going to give that stir down. So before I put the ice in there and start the dilution process, I'll just get rid of these. I'm going to introduce you to the Atlas box. Looks like a book. And I decided to aromatise my cocktail with Ocean Breeze. Again, celebrating the earth. 70% of the world is covered in water after all. So we need some Ocean Breeze in there. I'm just going to light this up and let it do its thing in the box while my drink dilutes. It's quite subtle incense as well. We're not going to overpower the drink. It works perfectly.
If you look at the run rate on the website,
You can't see this until it gets set, right?
it's up there at the top.
That's going to be aromatised in the glass one as well. So get some ice in the cocktail. Do want dilution, but not too much dilution, because we all know dilution's a bit of a thief. It'll take too much away from the drink if we don't look after it. You know, hearing your voice on stage, you realise how northern you are. So I'm going to give this a few minutes on this ice. This is quite good ice. Give that a little taste. Again, it's going to be a rich, potent, desserty kind of cocktail with a little bit of a daiquiri twist in there with that. So I'm serving this in handmade globe-shaped glasses from Poland. And I'm serving it on ice. Originally it was on block ice, but the whole thing was icebergs,
He's a winner.
to the explorers. Get some ice in there. And then that's not the dilution that it needs. I'm going to strain it straight over the ice. Make sure I get the levels right.
It's really nice.
So
It's not hairy or something growing out of it. That's too.
And I'm going to finish it with 4. So we've had 3 Better's Bitters products going in so far. There's another 2 in here. This is a Miracle Former and Mount Fuji Bitters. The Mount Fuji Bitters with a chrysanthemum, white peach, yuzu and burdock. Blend it with the Miracle Former and some water. It basically works as a foam on top of a drink that's more like a cloud, so it kind of dissipates, but it contrasts the flavours of the drink. The flavours in the drink are very, very rich, and the foam is quite light. It has mouthfeel as well. You can pop a little bit of this on top. I haven't used this yet, but next week. It's nice, it's good. We'll expect that.
It's so hard to do when you're shaking.
Yeah.
Try it again. You're going to be okay with it? very beneficial.
What do we use our one then?
No.
So there's a nice balance of flavours there, a little contrast. To finish the actual drink off, what I'm going to do is grate some Brazilian tonka bean on top of the drink. A little bit on there, a little bit on there to aromatise the cocktail. And then finally I'm going to serve it in the Atlas. So, can't really see it from there, you might have to set it off. So the Atlas inside it has a topographical map made of edible soil, some edible flowers, some edible stones. They don't look edible, but they are edible. With a channel in the middle, which represents the journey that the drink's taken to get here today. I hope you enjoy my drink. It's a reflection of my current frame of mind because I want to get out there and experience the world. It's called the Wanderlust.
We should win. That was really good. That was really, really good.
I like the smell.
Really, really good.
So yeah. Oh, have you got? Yeah. Can I do it with the tea? Yeah. Quick. I'll be as quick as I can.
Phone's going to down in a second. Next time I need to bring backup chargers, I need to bring tripod.
Your boom mic.